You're watching Chamber Zone, your business community at work. Representing the Duchesne County Chamber of Commerce, your host, Irene Hansen.
Hello and welcome to Chamber Zone, your business community at work. I'm Irene Hansen with the Duchesne County Chamber of Commerce, and joining me is my very good friend Joel Brown with the Vernal Area Chamber of Commerce. And Joel, we're going to step into some stuff today that we generally don't. We're kind of, I'm a Pollyanna, you're a cheerleader, and we just are so always bragging about the events in our community and our chamber members. But you know, I think we owe it to our communities and our chamber members and our residents. We have some important tax issues coming up on this year's ballot. In Duchesne County, we do mail-in, so many of our people will vote maybe even up to 2 to 3 weeks before the actual election day. So getting this information is so important out. And I'm going to give you first crack. Again, we don't claim to be experts, but we do love our counties. And we know that there's some great things that are possible and important for this year's election. I'm going to give you first stab.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Irene. You know, as she said, we're not the experts on this. However, we can help inform the consumer, inform our citizens out there what's going to be on the ballot this year on November 3rd. First of all, we have Prop 1, not to be mistaken with Prop A. We'll talk about a little bit about both of them, but Prop 1, first and foremost, is a tax increase for the community that's going to increase. So for every $4 spent, sales tax, every $4 spent is 1 cent.
Wow.
So for every $100, it's a quarter, I think.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's not a huge amount. But the great thing about it is that if our counties vote in favor of it, those monies come back to the counties in large sums. The county, the cities, the BTA, that will all benefit as a result of that tax increase.
And that's for transportation.
Absolutely.
And you know, the state realized in last year's legislature that our roads, both statewide and countywide and citywide, are struggling. If you live on a street within your community or in the county where the roads, in some cases are crumbling, and in other cases, you know, it causes damage to the cars and all kinds of things, this is an important way that everyone who comes and shops in our community can support our community, including tourists, including business people who travel here, including consultants that spend weeks here at a time. Everybody contributes to our transportation system. So it is a win-win.
It is, it definitely is. And that's what I failed to mention, Irene, is the fact that it's going to help, you know, if you have a pothole, if you have an unfinished sidewalk, it's going to help with those issues within our community. The great thing is if it does pass, those monies stay here within the community.
That's right. And again, the state put it on the counties and cities to decide.
Yes.
And I'm glad they did, because you know, nobody likes top-down government.
Right.
This is a bottom-up government initiative that we have the say, and it's going on in Duchesne and Uintah counties. And so become informed, talk to people, talk to your neighbors. Don't take our word for it.
Exactly.
Get on the internet, look. Now, chambers statewide have become very active in this, because I think the one thing we realize for our businesses, as our intro says, we're the business community at work.
Yep.
But the reality is, for businesses to be successful, we have to have infrastructure. That's what people look at who want to move to Vernal, to Roosevelt. What is your infrastructure like?
Absolutely. And if we have failing infrastructure, if we have roads that are dilapidated, have potholes, you know, that's a direct reflection on our community. So this is a great bill, Prop 1. If it's passed, it's just going to benefit our community.
Well, then let's go right into the next proposition that's on the Uintah County ballot.
So on the Uintah County ballot, it's also going to have Prop A. Prop A is basically refinancing a note for the public administration building, our jail here, to help refinance and retire the one note and refinance it into another note with a better interest rate, better terms. It's going to save the community $12.6 million and cut 6 to 8 years off of the financing of that note. So it's a win-win for the community, for the county, It's definitely something that we do need to vote in favor for to help retire the one note, refinance the other. The best way to look at it, Irene, is if you had a home financed at 8% interest,
right,
and the interest rates are currently at 4%, you're going to cut that note in half.
Wow.
Well, why wouldn't you do it?
Why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, so this is a note that it's going to cut it down from 5, and I'm not an expert, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's going to cut it down from 5% down to around 3%, so it's going to save the community and the county $12.5 million.
You know, and the other thing, when we get back, we're going to talk about there's several similar things going on in Duchesne County and Roosevelt City. Again, these are win-win. Don't take our word for it. Talk to your elected officials. Call your county clerks.
Yes.
Get copies of the ballot. Become informed, because as all good government by the people should be, they have to have your permission to do things, even when it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Even when it's the best deal the county could ever have, it still has to be approved by you, the voter. So become informed, make sure you vote, and we're going to finish this very important discussion after our short break. Thank you for joining us at Chamber Zone.
Almost 45% of the oil produced in Utah, 7.8 million barrels, comes from Duchesne County. That oil feeds our state economy, provides job growth, and supports local business. Here in Duchesne County, we're working to make Utah an economic, cultural, and technological leader. Whether you're here for business or pleasure, Duchesne County will welcome you with open arms and invite you to explore all the beauty of the Uinta Mountains. Duchesne County, close enough for business, far enough to get away.
Welcome back to Chamber Zone, your business community at work. You know, we were tiptoeing into some deep water here, Joel. And, you know, we hesitated, we talked about it, but when there are game-changing opportunities for our community, we can't tiptoe.
No, we really can't.
We have to be bold and advocate for our communities and for our businesses. And of course, the decision's always made up to the voter.
Yeah.
But for heaven's sakes, don't just vote no. Right now, we're going through a small economic downturn. It would be very tempting to say, I don't care what it is, I'm voting no to everything, because we're a little bit fragile right now. But there are some win-wins. In our last segment, we talked about Prop 1 and Prop A. Now, Prop 1 is in both counties.
That's
very
correct.
important, the transportation tax that comes back to the counties and the cities. Win-win. Everybody who comes here to shop will pay it, which means yours and my relatives, as well as consultants and visitors.
Yep.
The next one I'd like to talk about, the Roosevelt City ZAP tax is up for renewal. Now this, again, is another one of those things. This is not a tax increase. It's been on the last 10 years, but the state legislature asks us to, every 10 years, take this back to the voters. So and Uinta County has the same, or Vernal City has the same thing. In rural Utah, it's usually referred to as the RAP tax, Recreation, Arts, and Parks, because we really don't have any zoos. And so what that does in Duchesne County and in Roosevelt City, that helps pay for things like the golf course, UBIC, the Red Mud Run, the 4th of July event, and all of the Arts Council. Everything our Arts Council does, from the Missoula Film Festival to Shakespeare coming out to our schools, there are literally dozens of examples, are only possible because of this. Someone asked me today, well, what did they do before they had this? A lot of those events didn't take place. And they didn't take place to the level that they are now.
Yeah.
The Red Mud Run is a brand new event in Roosevelt. We're getting over 500 people to. But even more importantly, we are building a rec center right now in Roosevelt. An amazing, it's not as big or as elaborate as the Uinta County one, but it's going to be a nice destination, a year-round pool. However, I'll be honest with you, we this has to get passed in order for that pool to operate at the level that they really want to.
Right.
It would be a shame to have a year-round pool and maybe only have it open 9, 10, 11 months because of the overhead just being too steep. So this is not a new tax. Your taxes will not go up. This is a renewal of a tax that's been in place for 10 years. And you know, these kinds of things are just important to our counties.
Yeah, they're critical. You know, Irene, we have to have those taxes in place to help subsidize some of the great things that we have here in our local, smaller communities. Now, what does the ZAP tax? What does ZAP represent? What's the acronym?
The acronym is for Zoo, Arts, and Parks.
Zoo, Arts, and Parks.
And it's again another one of those things. The legislature allows a local county or city to be able to pass this in their own jurisdiction by a vote.
Right.
And that allows, I think the exciting things, yes, in fact, I'm going to go shopping in Vernal today. And so I'm going to be paying Vernal City ZAP tax while I'm here.
Perfect.
But it also allows people coming in from we have people come from all over the world. And when they buy a sandwich at Arby's, or they stop at McDonald's, or they stop at Walmart or at Shopko in Ballard, you know, this allows them to contribute to our local economy and our local parks and arts. And oftentimes it's those events that they're attending. They want to contribute. They do it anywhere else they travel, Salt Lake, Provo, Orem. And this just gives a chance for some of that money to stay in our local community. It really is important. Right now, Vernal or Uintah County, I don't think it's on your ballot this year.
Not this year.
But it is on the Roosevelt ballot. Now, for Roosevelt and Duchesne County residents, we do mail-in, guys. These ballots are going to be arriving in the next few weeks at your home. Make sure that you become informed. Don't take our word for it. We are not the expert. Call Roosevelt City for more information on the ZAP tax. Call your counties for more information on the propositions. Another tax measure that will be on Duchesne County's ballot is for a new Union High School. And believe it or not, it's not going to be a tax hike either, because what it will allow them to do is use the very inexpensive bonding that's already in place in Duchesne County and be able to renew those bonds as things are paid.
Right.
It will not result in a tax hike, and it will result in a beautiful new high school, which we desperately need in Duchesne County School District for Roosevelt. And so with that, any parting wisdom that you have, what can we do to motivate voters to become informed?
I think that's just the critical aspect of just letting the voter know to be informed. Don't take our word for it. We're not the expert. Go to the community, go to your county leaders and find out for yourself what is out there on the ballot so you can become informed and learn more about what it is. Because it's only going to benefit our communities.
It will. And you know what? Sometimes we can look to people to be our inspiration, to even come in and bail us out sometimes. But 99.9% of the time, we chart our own destiny. We make these decisions. We decide how to move forward. And so, again, find out. Well, that's it for today's show. I'm Irene Hansen. Joel Brown has been with me. Please tune in to your local chambers of commerce. Find out about the small business community, and we'll see you next time on VTV Chamber Zone.